Hi, my name is Dr. Courtney Tolinski, and I'm the director of the Zarlengo Learning Evaluation Center at Havern School. So today I'm going to talk to you about some key signs that your child may be struggling with a reading disability. Now, one of the first things that we look for with struggling readers is that they have difficulty learning letter names and sounds. So identifying very early on in like kindergarten, first grade, all the upper and lowercase letters, as well as the sounds that they make. So if you notice that they're struggling with that, and ideally they should have that mastered by the end of kindergarten. If that's a challenge for them, then that could be a key sign. The second sign would be just a general slow reading pace. So a lot of times struggling readers will really sound disfluent is what we call it. So really sounding very choppy when they're reading, right? So they're not able to read sentences, even those that they've read over and over again, in a fluent manner that we would expect. So that can be another sign is disfluent reading. The third sign that is often most associated with dyslexia is just confusing letters that look really similar. So letters that look similar could be like P and Q, for example, or B and D. So you may find that your child is reading a P as a Q, or more commonly a B as a D, or it can show up in their writing as well. Another sign that we look for is just difficulty with spelling really common words. Now, if your child is struggling with those things, again, learning letter sounds, learning how to blend those sounds together, and then that's showing up in their spelling, so having difficulty spelling really basic words that they should have mastered, then those can also be signs of a learning disability. Other signs to look for that aren't particularly associated with dyslexia, but are often commonly present for children with dyslexia include difficulties remembering just basic facts, struggling just with working memory in general. We find that children that have working memory difficulties, or sometimes what we call processing speed difficulty learning information or keeping information in their memory, can be key signs of dyslexia. Other signs can be difficulties with copying notes from the board. So again, just difficulties with reading the board and copying at an adequate pace, as well as difficulties with listening to and processing the information efficiently. Just a general avoiding or disliking of reading. So a lot of times children get really excited to read and they really want to engage in reading. But we find that, of course, for struggling readers, reading is so difficult and arduous for them that they don't want to read. And so they find ways to avoid it or just actively don't like it. And it makes sense, but it can also be a sign of an underlying reading disability. The last key sign that we often find is that children with dyslexia, of course, often have a better time comprehending information when it's read to them versus when they read themselves, of course. So they do better with things like audiobooks or listening to an adult read versus trying to read for themselves. It's really important, of course, to pay attention to your child's context. There are a lot of factors that go into determining whether a child has dyslexia or a learning disability, and these are just key signs that I want you to look out for. If you suspect that your child does have a learning disability, then it's really important to talk to your child's teachers, to their school psychologist, and really making sure that they're getting the help and the intervention supports that they need. Because early intervention, of course, is key when it comes to reading, and particularly for struggling readers. If you know that your child has been diagnosed with dyslexia and you're finding that the traditional school formats just are not working for them, then you may want to check out Havern School. So Havern School is a private school for children with learning disabilities. It's located in the Denver, Colorado area, and they specialize in the multisensory Orton-Gillingham approach to teaching reading. Thank you again for listening. This is Dr. T signing off.